This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans, so meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Fully Managed podcast. Thank you, Brad, so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Heck yeah, me too. All right, so we're going to start out with a game per usual, but this one is really very interesting, I think, with your experience in mind. So I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So this game is called, you're already going to be wowed by the title. Okay. So this is called Social Media Courtroom. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, and we talked about before this chat, you started as an attorney. For those of you who know, you probably already know that. But those of you who don't, guys, now you know. And now you run a social media agency for regulated industries. So this game frames social media strategies as cases in a courtroom. You are the judge and strategist, and you are going to tell me what the verdict is for these cases. Like, what do you think they should do? Does that sound fun?
It sounds like a hoot. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So this first one, they all have fun little titles too. Okay, so this first one is called The Meme Mishap. All right, so this is hysterical. So a law firm posts a meme about a famous TV courtroom scene. It's funny, but slightly references a real case. Should they post it?
I think, I mean, you really have to be careful with those kinds of stuff. You don't want to violate.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I think better safe than sorry, especially for confidentiality reasons. That can get you into real trouble. And I feel like, law, if you're in law, you should probably know that.
You should.
Okay, next one. This one is called Tax Dance Challenge. Okay.
Oof.
Okay, so a CPA wants to create a TikTok dance explaining tax deductions. Safe or risky?
Safe. Do it.
I think it's fun, informative, and fun.
Yeah.
My favorite kind of things are informative and fun. So,
people would just go crazy. A CPA actually dance.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, and it breaks the mold of the CPA expectations.
Absolutely.
So, I agree. Okay. Next one is financial advice giveaway. So a financial advisor wants to post a carousel titled 5 investments guaranteed to double your money. Is this legal and safe?
It is not safe, and it is probably a violation. Do not.
Good. My dad is a financial advisor. I don't see him ever doing something like that.
Yeah, and it would never happen. They would have a bad idea.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so I'll give you one more. Okay, I have many more, but I'm going to give you one more. Okay, a client testimonial post. A law firm receives a glowing testimonial from a former client. Can they share it publicly on Instagram?
They can. As long as it's the words of the client, they don't make like any guarantee in every case.
I think that's a lovely one. I don't see any problem with that either. I think that is just evidence of you doing good. And as long as I guess you have their permission, that sounds good to me. Well, thank you for entertaining me with my very fun, silly game. I hope that you enjoyed that.
Thank you for entertaining me. That was interesting.
Well, let's get into it because, now that people have a glimpse into your lore about you having been an attorney, I would love for you to tell us more about that one. What was like your aha moment where you were like, let's not do this anymore? And also tell us a little bit about your career journey up to this point, what you're doing today, what you like about what you do today, and everything that you think would be relevant to share.
Wow. So I'll try to do that real quickly. I practiced law for a long time, 15 or so. Most of the work that I did I liked that time went on. The work got to be a lot more. And probably in my last 3 years, very tough public spousal case. I had a I always had this, I tell people that if I wasn't having fun doing what I was, and the result of that was that I worked in a number of different law firms over my 7 years. After about 3 years of really emotionally, I transitioned from there to I ran a charity for several, where I told people, and I liked that work. And so I created the Friedman Group, which was an idea based on taking all of the people that I knew in wealth management and money management, the legal world, start a business, those people to take advantage. My goal was reducing their risk by sort of help them.
Yeah,
and so now I've been doing that.
I think that's incredible. And I also think it's funny because we were talking earlier about how this wasn't technically like a linear path, but it kind of almost does make sense. I mean, like, even if it's not technically linear in like industry standpoint, it is kind of like it's based off of your experience, and just is doing something different in relation to it almost. So,
yeah, exactly. It was really just to sort of leverage over the years, I have strayed, still kind of have.
Yeah, definitely, and maybe a strategic standpoint too of how you're thinking. Like, I think everyone thinks in like a different lens, so to speak, when they're going about their work in marketing, and like there's very different people that approach it differently. And based on your background, that might be a leg up for you, or in a certain industry, or maybe I don't know. Yeah,
I definitely. Well, my wife says all that.
I think that's a compliment.
I think it is too. I don't think she says it anyway.
Well, that's just fun. But so, like, talking about like the clients that you specifically work for, what do you think? Because some of these industries, people don't even think of like having a social presence a lot of the time. And I think that, like, to what you were saying, that is some of them aren't even taking advantage of this still. What do you think the biggest pitfalls you've seen for professionals in like the legal, financial, other regulated industries on social media? Like, what do you think are the biggest issues that they have?
Yeah, I mean, it is a headache in many ways for people in regulated, and because there are regulations that they have to be. Now, most of them have, in this day and age, most of the bigger have internal, so that if you're posting, it's posted in places, archives of PDFs and things that you can, that they've already approved, at least from their perspective.
So they don't bother kind of be involved in it because they're so worried about, like there being a problem with cancer, like.
And for the smaller firms, the solo people still have, but they may not have this.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And even like for where like legal firms are concerned, just got tongue twisted there. I see that as like an incredibly saturated market. Not that like all industries kind of are in their own ways, I guess, but like the amount of legal ads that I personally see are like an absurd level. Maybe it's just because I'm seeing a lot of billboards because I'm in a city, but for like content related things for the legal industry specifically, like what do you see making these firms like stand out in like a very saturated market?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that is a big challenge. It's really interesting. You look back relatively, I think in a lot of cases, it's oversaturated. People are so excited that they're just going crazy, crazy doing it. So the things that you want to kind of do are things that really all businesses are trying to ability. Those are really without guaranteeing that every case of money or, those kinds of demonstrating you are credible, that you're doing that in contracts, whatever it is that you're developing that trust.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that that's probably what people are looking for when they're looking for a lawyer, is can you win a case? That's probably number one. But I completely understand what you're saying is like establishing, it's really difficult for people to trust in marketing because they constantly feel marketed to, but for the legal industry it's probably even more difficult because like people are relying on you for something, like rather than like a product, but something that like can be detrimental to like the process of their life. Or the opposite.
That's very true. So, talking about your experience, people are, when they're in need of a lawyer, always desperate time in there. So they want to make sure.
Do you think that it is, in comparison to the other regulated industries that you work for, do you feel like one, maybe specifically the legal industry, is more difficult to get, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess to get leads, I'll say, because I was going to say sales, but I'm like, to get leads in than other industries based off of the nature of the work?
I don't really think one would be more difficult than the other. I think in today's, it's hard to get, period. And like you said, the area is kind of saturated. So yeah, I think one would, I think regardless of the business, it's regulated or.
When you coach like professional service providers like CPAs we mentioned, how do you make them, because I think especially when people are new to like the content world, how do you help them think about ROI in a way that like feels tangible rather than like likes or clicks? Because I think a lot of people are like, okay, like it's really good that I'm getting engagement on something, but they don't realize like they need to look at different data other than that.
Right. Yeah. That has a big challenge. ROI just in general. The nice thing about one client, make your ROI and I work with people and we're developing, setting goals. Certainly likes, comments, shares, those are things that you can, but I'm often having to set up internal reporting so that we are keeping track. Phone call. I got a phone call today from somebody that saw my keeping track of that too, probably more than like. So sometimes we're setting up internal for those kinds of, so that there's more than just meetings, coffees, really what to them. So
yeah, that's what's really valuable. I think sometimes like people got that shiny object syndrome where they're like really excited about getting a bunch of likes and clicks, but if it doesn't relate to any kind of sale or lead, then it's not really valuable. But I think that sometimes people are almost, I guess, distracted by that kind of data.
Oh yeah, for sure. And a lot of times, I'm talking to people about, hey, if you have 100 engaged followers, it's better than 1,000 unengaged followers. And if your 100 people are sharing your content and you're getting phone calls or inquiry, develop a good strategy, execute.
Doesn't really matter.
Not going to happen.
Maybe it's not a good strategy then. Yeah, I would understand what you're saying. Like you can have a good strategy on paper, like in the idea that like this makes sense. There's evidence that this works, but then like it just doesn't. It is projected, and then that means you have to adjust.
Every strategy that I've ever done is discussion. Every strategy of a month at a time, and we're tweaking it.
I completely agree. And to segue a little bit, because I'd love to talk about your podcast, because I don't get to talk to other podcasters very often. I want to know, how has like producing your own content shaped your perspective on what your clients should prioritize in their marketing strategy? Like, have you gotten more insight to that? Or like, has anything changed since having more discussions about it?
Oh, that's really interesting. I mean, probably doing the podcast, I have been very, very.
Congratulations.
And I learned something in every. I learned things that help me do my work better. I learned things that I didn't. And I get to meet some really leaders doing the podcast because I might have ideas because of what and I also, can compare them as leaders.
I love that sentiment. I mean, like, I completely agree. That's exactly the way I feel about mine as well. I say probably maybe too much. I don't know if I can say this too much. But that, like, I love the opportunity to be able to learn from people that are smarter than me, which, like, I just believe everyone is. Because I mean, like, learning, if I learn something new every day, then that is a successful day. And the podcast gives me the opportunity to learn, like, in different industries, different fields. Like, it is so cool. I learn fun facts too that are like just outside of even like what I'm going for sometimes, and I love that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So talking more about that and like also your coaching in general, coaching business owners and providing like full implementation of marketing. How do you decide for each client whether you should teach them to fish or fish for them? Like, because I think a lot of people have trouble with this because, you know, like, obviously, I mean, I guess technically if you don't teach someone how to do something, then you will always have them coming back.
Right.
But I think sometimes it's more valuable to be able to teach someone how to do something themselves.
Yeah. In every case, my goal is to have them 100%. So what we're doing is really working on a strategy that they feel comfortable. If you say to me, I can only write one blog post or I can only twice a week, then that's how the strategy, my feeling always is, it's always, but once you get into it, your system's in place, then you can increase. And in many cases, most of the time, with majority of the LinkedIn, and we're comfortable posting to LinkedIn, and we'll get kind of effective LinkedIn. And then if you are comfortable expanding to some other platform, 100% of the.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great strategy. And I think that it's also a way it actually shows that you care, because like, I mean, like a lot of people will, you know, obviously prefer to get that check in every whatever month or so. And so that means that maybe, you know, if they make it seem difficult or whatever it may be, then that person continues to rely on them. But I think that if you truly care, then you know, teach them to do that thing themselves so that, you know, they can be
self-sufficient.
Thank you. I was like self-serving and I was like, I can't think of the word. But
I mean, the reality is that nobody knows you and your skills and your business better than you. So exactly. I can do a good job being your voice, but I will never really 100% be on point teaching you how almost.
I completely agree. I mean, that's like how I feel about AI. I mean, you can train it to do whatever, but it's not you. Right. In certain cases, I mean, like we're not getting into that, but there's ways in which it can be extremely same time. For sure. If you're training it to be you, it's not necessarily going to be you, and that's that's okay. But kind of talking about the progression of your business, like since 2010, when it was founded, there were a lot of tools that, I guess this kind of does maybe fall in with AI a little bit, but there were a lot of tools that were introduced since that happened, like HubSpot, Constant Contact, like Hootsuite, different things that have evolved since then, or, you know, have became on the horizon since then. Like, how has your tech stack changed over time? Like, what do you decide to adopt? How do you decide to adopt something? Because there's so many new things now out that are even crazier, even more things coming out. Like, what is your process for that?
Yeah, so I have been accused over the years of having that shiny grabbing on everything that in a lot of ways. I do like can get my hands on.
Bad exploring is not bad.
Right. But I do not implement every one of those things just because they're shiny and new. For example, I've been using Hubs 14 and I've been constant for some of it is I use also Suite. And so my tech stack has morphed away. It will so much. It's new all the time.
It's a bit impossible. If you had, you know, if your shiny object syndrome was so strong, you'd get a bit too distracted. So I don't think it's too bad. Exploring things isn't a problem. I mean, like, obviously, if you don't explore things, then you don't find out things that you can do better. But running with every new thing that you find is not good and not balanced. So it sounds like you're doing the former, though. So I think that's okay.
I try. I am trying. I can guarantee you that there are things in my text.
I completely understand, and that is okay to explore and investigate. Like I like to say, is totally okay. But what I want to do to round out this podcast was we're a bit over time, but I love to be future looking at the end because I think that that's nice. It gives you something to look forward to, or maybe something not to look forward to. So like in the next, I don't know, let's go like 3 to 5 years. How do you see social media marketing changing? As we talked about, AI is incredibly involved in a lot more systems than it was previously. That's probably going to get crazy. How are you preparing for the future? What are you looking forward to?
I mean, I think AI is probably the biggest thing, huge, real people quality. I think that's challenging. Keep up quantity that they think, keeping the quality up there, using AI. I hope I'm having AI generate, not paying.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I think that will definitely be changing. Hopefully, what I hope for the future in relation to that is like that we will focus more on quality though. So I mean, like if quality, like for example, I know that SEO is changing, I feel like in a positive way, of the idea that people are kind of putting things out for quantity to Google, so to speak. And now we have AI that is involved in SEO now, and I think that kind of focuses more on quality posts and different things like that in order to get quality information about your business. And I really like that change because there's no trickery. I'm sure there'll always be trickery, but I like
there will
that.
always be trickery. There will always at least be attempts. But I mean, yeah, I think now is to have AI create your, and for you to be able to go in and edit that so that it tricks us into believing that AI didn't the first draft.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe that's it. I think there'll always be a human element. Yeah. And I hope so, at least.
I hope so.
Well, thank you, Brad, so much for joining me today. This was an absolute pleasure. I had so much fun. I think we got some good laughs. We got some smiles. We got, talking about an industry in depth that I don't get to talk about as much. So this was really nice, eye-opening, and I learned a lot too, which is selfishly my favorite thing about so.
Yeah, no, it was great. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you again. And thank you everyone for listening. We'd be nothing without you. I hope you guys check out other episodes. Check out Brad in the description. And I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you guys.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest. And to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend and, of course, subscribe.